that influencing the choice of the premier for his ministers in the cabinet, especially those important files? And how do you think this is going to be implemented on a better scale in the coming stage?
If we see the profile of all of these ministers, whether the previous one or the current one, they are completely economically directed. I mean, say in terms of profile, experience, they are excellent. But what is lacking here is to achieve, is to execute what has been decided. This is the main issue. It's not a matter of to put just the strategy, the vision, etc. We need people who are capable to achieve these objectives, and
especially that there are problems to be sorted out.
Exactly. This is the main point. If we don't highlight or to sort out the main issues, the main problems here, the main tasks, even small tasks, not speaking even the big ones, even the small tasks, and then we go into what we call the whole system that involves all the ministers all together, and not to just highlight or to get ministers who are completely detached one from the other one. This is what's going on, and I'm repeating this since years. Since years we are repeating the same, but really we are insisting to go for the same direction, for the same I don't know, notion, way of working. This is what I see the main issue, that we have one idea in our mind and we cannot even we are not really
do you see that repeated in this?
It's repeating, yes, it's repeating all the time. Because up to now none of these ministers are one of the street, I mean, say, coming from the revolutionary young people, none of them. All of them, they have very good experience, whether academic or whatever experience certain how, or even businessmen, etc. But they should be in the second line. They should be in the second line. First line, we need young spirit. Young spirit goes with the young street. The street movement is much faster than the cabinet, and this was being suffering during Biblawi era. During the Biblawi era, it was, we had the best ministers, by the way, the best profiles, but they were a little bit, let's say, slow when it comes to the street, when it comes to taking decisions. We can see what happens to the constitution, for instance, what happened with the manifestation, left and right, etc. The reaction was always slow. We need somebody in the street, we need somebody that can read the people, the simple people, the majority, let's say, the majority, not only concentrate with the elite people.
Yes, sir. Also, those who are opposing the current roadmap Egypt is going through find it also very strange, and there's a lot of question marks that are raising around why in any change of ministries, even though the Morsi era went, yet the posts of the interior minister and the posts of the minister of defense still remained. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think it's a completely logic. It's completely logic because both of them, they have a very important file. Of course, all of them, they have important files, but those two files are very sensitive. As I mentioned before, security issue is one of the most important, let's say, objectives that we have for the time being. So security, and then economic reforms. I mean, so first of all, we need people with certain experience, people they've been living during this, let's say, the last few years with the main problem. They know it very well, and they know how to handle it. So this is one issue that I find it completely logic.
Right. Mr. Bartash, let us talk about excuse me, the timing of the cabinet reshuffle, because some of the international media mentioned the statement that this cabinet reshuffle came as a surprise to the international community and to the international media. Why was the word surprise mentioned? We don't see that as a surprise because we are in a phase of trial and error in order to achieve our objectives. So yes. Why are they describing it as a surprise, especially that there were some reservations on the former cabinet of Dr. Hazem al-Biblawi, and the timing also, especially that Yasmin mentioned that it's prior to the presidential elections and people should be occupied with other issues.
That's true.
I mean, not more important, but of other issues
Yeah.
that is related to the presidency and the people who are supposed to run for presidency?
Well, personally, I'm not surprised because we, as I mentioned,
We are
just
not
before,
too, but
we are not
international
surprised
media.
yes, because
Yes.
for one reason, because we are too slow, and that's it. So this is the main reason. I mean, the changes should have been done before. I'm saying long time before. Once we saw the reaction of the cabinet, that it is again and again. I'm repeating myself in each time because, but it seems that few people who listens. I mean, say. We never take decision on time, and when we take decision, we never execute the decision on time. So we are extremely late, we are too slow to execute any decision. So this is one hand. So I'm not surprised to be slow, I'm not surprised to be slow, not for the decision, you see. And in the meantime, it is maybe just an analysis that it's like forming the new cabinet for the coming president. Because the timing now is too close, as you mentioned, it's very close to the presidential elections. So I don't think the new president is coming is going to form a new cabinet. It would be illogical. But I think it's like a preparation for the new cabinet for the coming president.
So you say that you know, those who are running the cabinet should be close to the people on the street. Yes. And should be able to quickly go for their demands. Yeah, well, but the true fact that there is a gap between the people on the street and the reality of what's happening in the country, because now that the government is changing, have changed, and there are still strikes on the streets that are, you know, every now and then echoing really loud. People are very determined, and they just want their demands to be fulfilled overnight, not taking a look on the wider scope of where the amount of crisis that Egypt is going through, which makes it impossible for any government, no matter how close it is to the streets, to abide by their demands. How can that gap be demolished between the people on the street and the reality fact on the ground of what's happening in Egypt?
It's very easy, talking to people. It's quite easy. I mean, say it's the lack of communication with the public, with people. This is the main issue that I see up to now. So what we call is every small manifestation, left and right, is like a small revolution. I mean, say when it comes to a manifestation, it is like a small revolution in certain, let's say, organization. But in the meantime, if we don't talk to these people will escalate their demand. It's normal, by the way. Huh? It's very normal, and we have to see this issue is completely normal. So since the beginning, we have to talk to these people to highlight their problems. Yes, we understand what you are talking about, we understand your demands. The actual situation of Egypt, economically, politically, socially, is like this. We explain to them, and then, look, you have 10 demands, I can execute, I can go for 2, 3, the other 4 can be just postponing for the coming 2, 3 years, and the rest, I'm sorry, we cannot do it because it is out of our hand. So it's a matter of communication, just to communicate with these people, not to neglect people and just treat them because they will feel that they are neglected, they are detached, they are completely out of the scope.
Right, Mr. Mohamed Bartash, a political and economic expert, would like to thank you very much for coming over. And right now it's Dina Yunus, and she's going to file in a report about the rescue of Abu Simbel Temple. Let's go back to Dina Yunus and see what's in her report.